cover finding CM requests in IFS and entering a CM part request. As mentioned before, we were able to leverage existing IFS resources to build this new request system. You will find the CM request under change order in IFS. First, you will need to provide some basic information that will allow all of your requests on the General tab. To get started, just click the plus on the left-hand side to start a new request. The CO number, which will be your record to search for or modify this request, will be generated automatically after you save. Now begin by entering the description. In this case, since it's a test, we'll just enter it as test. Select your request type from the CM request type drop-down menu. A nice feature is you will not have to generate multiple requests to have multiple different parts created, as you can now select to have CM create engineering parts and sales parts, CFP parts, or part catalog requests, all from the same request. This saves you the time and hassle having to fill out 2 or more separate requests or adding lengthy instructions. A little tip to help save time: if you are asking CM to request an engineering part, you do not need to also select an inventory part. This will be created as part of CM's standard work in creating engineering parts. For this example, we're going to be creating an engineering part and a sales part. Select your need date. You can either manually enter the date as shown, or you can double click in the need date window to bring up the calendar. Please provide the project code and the project short name or the indirect charge code in these fields, both of which are accessed with the list of values. You no longer have to worry about typing it out or missing the information or mistyping it, since this is all pulled directly from IFS. You can search for your project ID using this field, or simply just select one from the list of values. You can select to notify additional folks when your request has been completed by using these fields provided. Again, the names come up in the list of values menu. You can search, and you can even set a custom query of commonly used names to save you time on future CM part requests. In the CM instructions field, you're going to provide just any additional information that you feel might be necessary to completing your request. This field is 2,000 characters long, so you can get pretty descriptive. Any special requests you may have should go in this field. Once you're done with that, you'll click Save. You'll notice that the CO number has been auto-generated. And now you're ready to move on and provide the information about the specific parts that you want created. First, we'll start with the CM Part Request tab. Again, you'll need to click the plus for a new record on the left side bar here and begin to enter the information. part number, part description, the site or sites. You can pick multiple sites if they need to be transferred into multiple sites or just the one. In this case, we'll just use Simsbury. The inventory unit of measure or just the unit of measure. It's important to remember that you want to use this script shown here when searching for the inventory unit of measure. This script I've already placed in the iDrive under the CM requests folder in this Word document. You're going to want to copy that out of there, put it in this SQL, and save this search so that you're pulling up the correct units of measure. These are the ones that we need to use in IFS because each is the most common. That's what we'll select for this example. You need to provide the planner information. You could provide the product code if you know it, so CM can also fill that out. And then you'll move on to these drop downs here. So if the part exists already in IFS and this is a part update, you pick true. In this example, we're going to want to create it as a new part. So we'll pick false. This does not already exist in IFS. Same thing with build to print. True or false. If it is a build to print, true. If it's not a build to print, that's false. Again, you should probably know already if it is a build to print job. Most folks who work on programs that require build to prints are already well aware of them. So in most cases, that's going to be false. International order. And then you do not have to fill out the inventory part request type because we're not doing an inventory part in this case. And we're not changing the part type. This is an update to a record. You do need to select the part type, which is make, purchased, or purchased raw. If you're unclear about which one to select, you can feel free to reach out to CM and we can help you out. In this case, because we're going to also be making a sales part, we're going to select make. The NSN, DODIC, or nomenclature information is common on certain military programs. Again, if you are unclear whether you need it or not, by and large, this is not needed, but is usually pretty well known if it is needed. Important to remember here, if your part does contain explosives, you must select this button, part contains explosives, and enter the net explosive weight. If you try and save without the net explosive weight filled out, IFS will not let you save the record. You, however, do not need to add other hazardous materials or ozone depleting substances unless that information is known, and then those would be selected from the drop-down menus here. The document location and the document to attach box are where you're going to tell us which document to use. In this example, since we're creating a brand new part, and that's common with commercial off-the-shelf parts, we'll use McMaster Car as an example. To say you were entering, you needed a new McMaster Car part, you've been on their site, you've located the product that you'd like to use. You found their data sheet, or in this case, 2D drawing. So you'll save it, download it. You can actually save it, right to the iDrive CM requests folder. Before you click save, you want to highlight and copy this information. Save to the folder, and then paste that information in the documents to attach folder. This lets CM know that because it is a new record in IFS, this is the technical definition or drawing we need to use for that record. If the drawing already exists in IFS, if it's a new configuration of an existing drawing, perhaps it's a NAS or MS screw or washer, you would put that document number here. Similarly, using this request, you were creating a new F part, you would put the F drawing, which exists in IFS, F12345 is our example, and then that's what CM would use to identify the drawing that exists in IFS. If you're creating a DVL part, the document location field is where you would enter the general use document number for your DVL. Since we've also requested to enter a sales part, you'll need to select the customer ID, which again is accessed through this list of values here. You'll need to enter the sales unit of measure, again from the query that we saw earlier. The sales to inventory unit of measure conversion, which is 1. And then, of course, any sales part cross-reference information. So if you're cross-referencing our sales part to a customer part number, you would click this box. And enter that information, enter the customer part number equivalent, the customer part description, customer unit of measure, and the conversion, which is 1. After that, you can hit save. And this brings us to a very important piece of information. The ITAR, EAR, JC field must be filled in for an engineering part request for a make item. This field, accessed through this dropdown, this category must be filled out. This information must be obtained before entering this request, as IFS, as you've seen, will not allow you to save it without it. CM will not verify this result. We are taking it at face value that this category was chosen correctly. If you guess, we are going to input what you have selected. Once you've selected all of the information, you can hit save. If you wanted to enter an additional part, you would just click new and begin to enter all of the required information again. you've now saved your second part request. You can now do that as many times as you want. In the wiki, you are limited to 3 parts per request. Now you can enter as many as is needed to stop you from having to enter multiple requests. It is, however, very important to note that when you select these part types from the General tab, the information for engineering parts and sales parts will be required every time you look to create a new part number in this specific request. So if you have a mix of parts that require sales parts and parts that don't, you will have to enter a separate record, getting a separate CO number for those parts. Once you are done entering your part records, then you're done. CM will automatically be notified of your new request. And once CM begins to work your record, you'll be notified anytime we change it to in process. And of course, you'll be notified anytime we change it to complete. As mentioned before, you can use your CO number and search for your record. To edit it or modify it, you can also use the CM status here to place it on hold if you needed to. If you need to cancel your request, please notify CM via email with the CO number and reason for canceling. The reason doesn't have to be detailed. It can be simple as it being an error, or the part's no longer needed, or the program's no longer being worked. Whatever the reason, we just need a record from you as to why this request was canceled. If you have any questions, please reach out to CM and we will be happy to show you. Thank you very much. Have a good day.